Now to a growing spat that involves NASA's mission to get humans back on the moon and the world's richest man. I'm talking, of course, about Elon Musk, who this week launched a scathing attack on Sean Duffy, who's not only the US Transportation Secretary, but crucially, he's the current acting administrator of NASA. On Tuesday, Mr. Musk took to his social media platform X to describe Mr. Duffy as a dummy, claiming that he's trying to kill NASA. The outburst came just a day after Mr. Duffy invited other companies to compete with Musk's SpaceX firm for NASA's planned moon landing mission, citing delays. In 2021, SpaceX was awarded the $2.9 billion contract to provide the lunar lander astronauts would ride to the moon. Now it's under pressure to deliver after issues with its Starship test program. Well, Eric Berger has been covering this. He's senior space editor at the US technology news and analysis website, Ars Technica, in Houston, Texas. Welcome to DW. You've described this feud as bonkers. At its core, is this about NASA policy or is it a turf war between Elon Musk and Sean Duffy?
I think it's primarily Elon Musk feeling disrespected by Sean Duffy, someone who he probably doesn't have a lot of respect for, being a former reality TV star and congressman who now is running the Department of Transportation and NASA. And so I think that he has just characteristically using his social media website to lash out.
And how unusual is it for a NASA administrator, even an acting one, to publicly criticize SpaceX, given the agency's heavy reliance on them?
Well, it's interesting because NASA administrators typically don't criticize their contractors publicly like this, and it's very rare for a NASA administrator to go on Fox News and announce space policy changes, but, we are in a different era, I guess. I would say that over the years, NASA administrators have been a little more quick to criticize SpaceX than other contractors. You may not remember, but back in 2019, then Administrator Jim Bridenstine told SpaceX it was time to deliver on Commercial Crew, which was the program to carry astronauts to the International Space Station. There were actually two contractors at the time, SpaceX and Boeing. SpaceX launched Crew the next year, and 6 years later, Boeing still has yet to have an operational spacecraft. So it's a little bit of a double standard there to some extent.
Right. And you've written about Sean Duffy exploring the idea of folding NASA into the Department of Transportation. How seriously is that idea being taken?
Well, that's a great question. I'm not sure. I think Duffy takes it pretty seriously. He, according to a lot of different sources, has expressed a strong interest to keep oversight of NASA. It makes for good television. It makes for good public appearance opportunities. And one way he sort of conceived of doing that was putting NASA in his Department of Transportation and then basically hiring someone to run the agency. And then he would still essentially get to take credit for all of NASA's successes while someone else actually ran the agency.
What's the mood inside NASA right now? There have been workforce cuts, leadership uncertainty, and now we have this very public row unfolding.
It's not great, let me tell you that. As you say, about 20% of the workforce is left because of cuts, because of voluntary buyouts and other government workforce reduction programs. A lot of the people who left have been leadership, particularly at some of the science-leaning centers. And so there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of concern about that. And then, of course, we're also in the middle of a government shutdown, so a lot of these people are at home not getting paid. And, there's the budget has proposed massive cuts to NASA science programs, particularly earth science. So there's a lot of concern. And as you say, this fight at the top is not really helping things at all. It's hurting them.
OK, so we have Sean Duffy inviting tenders for this contract. Are there serious contenders out there who could take this away from SpaceX?
So SpaceX's contract is unlikely to be taken away, and NASA's actually allocated a majority of the funding already for that. The interesting thing for this is that they would need to find new money, I think, to incentivize Blue Origin, and then find a lot of money, and we're talking probably $20 billion US or something like that, to fund a third option for a cost plus or traditional government contract lander. It's about nearly 10 times as much as they're spending on SpaceX. And so, I'm not sure that Duffy or NASA would actually be able to do that with Congress. We'll have to see. But no, I don't see SpaceX's contract being taken away.
Okay, and finally, and briefly, if you would mind, who do you think has a stronger hand to become the next permanent NASA administrator? Is it Sean Duffy?
So it's probably not Sean Duffy. There is, just new reporting today, based on sort of White House sources that say they're kind of tired of his fight to retain this position. Not happy with sort of his public fight with Elon Musk. And so I think it'll be someone else. The leading contender is probably Jared Isaacman,
Right.
a private astronaut who was nominated earlier this year. But that's no certainty, and we really won't know until the president makes a decision.
Okay, thanks for talking us through that, Eric. Eric Berger from Ars Technica.